If you never watched a movie before, if someone dies and you don't see the body, guarantee they're coming back in the third act. Okay, we're going to do one more day, one more chapter for now. Just see where things go. Just gonna dip my toes into the acid bath, you know? And just press on. Just because I'm really curious to see how we style this one out, you know, go to school tomorrow in the face of all this. Potentially play a fun, quirky club activity. That's going to be fun. I can't wait for that. I can't wait to see that. It's going to be great. I'm going to fucking cry. Ah, a lovely morning. The bird song is so quaint. Weariness and a headache. Not a very nice way to start the day. What's wrong? Keiichi, you don't look so well. When did you go to sleep? It seemed that my mum had noticed my sullen state. Yesterday, I kept on waking up in the middle of the night. Without a doubt, I felt a presence. I felt the presence of someone standing in front of my door. I told myself repeatedly it was my imagination, and forced myself to try and sleep. Except, not being able to stand it, I gathered up my courage and opened the door. Of course, there wasn't anyone there. I think I did this 3 times throughout the night. Or maybe I just don't remember doing it any more than that. Even though I was able to get to the breakfast table without incident, I still didn't feel at ease. It might be a cold. I don't really have an appetite. My, you do seem a little warm. Well, can you make it to school? Technically, I did go to a school, but it was mostly self-study. It wouldn't matter much if I missed a day, would it? It could have been that I hadn't been feeling well for the last few days because I really did have a cold. If I took some medicine and got a good day of rest, I might be able to greet everyone with a smile tomorrow. Startled, I looked back and forth between the entrance and the clock. It was 10 minutes later than when I usually met up with Rina. It was Rina. Rina-chan came to get you. What are you going to do? Are you going to take the day off? Rina was a good girl. Well, she might be somewhat quirky, but she was certainly cute. The lunches she made were delicious, and she always looked out for me. Why should I be so scared of something like that? It wasn't Rina's fault. It was probably mine. It had to have been my cold. It just had to be. I'll rest. Sorry. Oh, then I'll go send her off for you. Damn, okay, we are staying off school. Fair enough. No, that is an understandable reaction. And it will certainly help for at most a day. You know, assuming some further actions aren't taken during that day that wind up beginning to involve you during the day, you know, while you're resting in bed. Mum headed off to the door. I would have to pass by the entrance to get back to my room. I didn't have the nerve to meet with Rina, so I wrapped myself in a blanket on the sofa and closed my eyes. I was so sleep-deprived I quickly fell into a deep slumber. I had only intended to lie down for a bit, but it was almost noon when I woke up. Sorry, just looking at the song name. This is a good song name. This is a good song. It has a feeling of vague serenity, but also like we're putting something off. It's like false peace, you know? I called out to my parents, but they didn't seem to be around. On the table, I found lunch prepared with a note. Mum and Dad had apparently driven off to somewhere far away. It likely had to do with Dad's work. So, let's do a quick sit rep. We have horribly pissed somebody off. Our standing in an incredibly suspicious group is now tenuous at best. And we are alone in a house. Our parents are very far away. And we have not faced the situation in any way that could have improved our standing. It feels a bit like I've woken up tied to some train tracks. And I can vaguely hear like a horn, like a whistle, far off in the distance. I don't know if it's coming this way. It might be on a completely different line, but the sheer presence of that whistle is enough to send me into a state of dread and imminent death. Anyway, this happened every so often, so it wasn't that unusual. They will be back for dinner, but might be a bit late. On the note, it said, "The insurance card is in the cabinet. Take it and go to the hospital." There was also a well-drawn map to the hospital. That's right. I hadn't been there before, so I didn't know exactly where it was. I had a light lunch, although it really was just leftovers from the morning, and just in case, went to the hospital. Okay. Nice little hospital visit. Maybe we can, like, hide there. There's nowhere more comforting to be in a horror game than a hospital, right? Normally I'd never be here, in the middle of a weekday. Just walking around like this had me feeling guilty. It was an odd feeling. Following my mum's map, I took a road I usually never used. After walking for a bit, the hospital's sign came into view. Irie Clinic was written rather stylishly on the sign. Shit. We know, but Keiichi doesn't know this. The missing woman works here. Cool. Everything's tied together in a town this small. No matter where you go, you're going to find yourself somehow involved in the conspiracy. The clinic wasn't very big, but based on the scale of the rest of Hinamizawa, it was far too grand. There was a parking lot and even a reserved spot for buses. It must be making a mint. Oh, there's like a little crocodile there, or something. I spaced out in the air-conditioned waiting room until it was my turn to be seen. Ibara-san, please make your way into the examination room. After half-handedly answering all the chatty doctor's questions, he responded with the old, "It's probably a cold." Gave me a shot and 3 days' worth of medicine. I thought it was a little overboard, but if it would clear away the gloomy feeling I'd been having lately, then it was worth it. I don't know that it will help, but it's worth a go. I settled the bill and took a quick trip to the washroom. As I was leaving, I overheard a conversation between some elderly people who seemed to be regulars at the clinic. "Oh, that's a shame that one nurse has gone missing. What a shame." And then we fucking immediately have a heart attack from fear and die. Of course, I had no intention of eavesdropping. If it just wasn't for that word. Must have been an Oni Kakushi. I wonder. She was still pretty young. Might have just eloped. With whom? That man from Tokyo who visits every season. That young one with that big camera. Didn't you know they were getting along pretty well? Were they talking about Tomitake-san? I could feel my ears perking up. I don't know about that, but you do have to make preparations before you elope. Leave a note or quit the job or something. It's an elopement because they didn't leave a note or message. The thought I'll never see that young nurse's face again makes me rather sad. Takano-san is an upstanding young woman. She'll be fine wherever she goes. So her name was Takano-san. That woman with Tomitake-san. And she worked at this clinic. Oyashiro-sama's shadow was following me everywhere I went. I started listening more closely, but they began talking about fishing, and it didn't seem like they were going to revisit the topic. I gave up and left. Thus, even though I was separated from the daily monotony of school, I wasn't able to escape from Oyashiro-sama's shadow. Oh my god. But of course, Oyashiro-sama was the guardian deity of this place, of Hinamizawa. As long as I was in Hinamizawa, I wouldn't be able to escape. Yeah, just run away, bro. Just fucking get on your bike, ride away, start making a living as like a rat boy, you know, who lives in like a canal or something. It's the only solution I can see. Maybe it was because I was walking outside, but my appetite had suddenly returned. I might as well buy a snack with the change from the examination fee on the way home. Contemplating that, I turned onto a familiar street. At that moment, I heard a car horn abruptly honk behind me. Was I really walking so far into the middle of the road where I'd be in a car's way? I moved farther off to the side, but the horn was still honking at me. I turned around, peeved. "Maibara-san, good day to you!" It was Uishi-san. He stepped out of his car, AC on full blast, and waved at me. "What's up today? School on break?" Just not feeling well, so I took the day off. I was about to buy lunch and head back home. "Ah, that's great. I'm just about to get lunch myself. Would you mind going together? If you're not feeling up for it, then don't mind me." Oh my god, he is like Columbo. But rather than the Columbo who needles the suspect, he's the Columbo that unknowingly endangers someone. It's like, I can't get rid of him. I was just going to lie down after going home anyway. And I didn't really have a cold. "I expect you to rather avoid using one of the local places. Let's go into town. It's a bit of a drive, is that all right? I know a pretty good place." I'd finally begun to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying things. He probably wanted to talk to me about stuff that would be difficult to discuss while in Hinamizawa. Awesome. Great stuff. I went with Oishi-san, riding in his frigid car. It was almost as if the bright sunlight outside was a lie. "I'm sorry about calling you so late last night. Did your parents get angry at you?" No. I recalled Rina, who had been listening to the phone conversation all that time, separated from me by just the door. Even now, in the brightness of the sunlight, the thought still creeped me out. With a big bump that jolted the car, the road connecting the city changed from dirt to pavement. My head twiveled back with a sudden realization. That's right. This was where Tomitake-san died. "They've hit a snag on the investigation regarding Tomitake-san." Oishi-san spoke while peering at me from the corner of his eye. "They believed it was caused by hallucinogens, given how he was clawing out his own throat. But a drug that could cause that to happen so suddenly is extremely hard to come by. Bear in mind, of course, the autopsy was done with that premise in mind, but we didn't find any leads." You know that thing you see in manga all the time? Where there's a drug that doesn't leave any traces after being consumed?
It exists. Succinal called something or other. Well, it's pretty common. But you see, there doesn't even seem to be any kind of drug that would cause Tomitake-san to react like that.
Then, you're saying the police concluded Tomitake-san just died from the curse? I couldn't help but feel that the police were worthless. Sorry, I zoned out. Let me read the line. I couldn't help but feel that the police were worthless. I just wanted the idea of a curse to be dissociated from Tomitake-san's mysterious death. I'll go and get a snack. I have returned with a bowl of fruit and nut mix and an orange Rocky bar. Let's dance.
Unfortunately, that's how it looks right now. But putting aside the cause of death, without a doubt, he was surrounded by a group of people and had taken a beating when he died.
Do you have evidence that there was a group of people? Like, you know, I don't know, like, do you have evidence that 4 people or more were involved beyond the injuries?
That was no curse, but an incident that unquestionably involved other humans.
Because, you know, like... The weird thing is... Suspects number 1 through 4 would be the club, you know, that... you know, our club, but the way Rina and Mion were talking, it seemed like they were just discussing the rumour of him having gone missing. Which would feel weird to... In a way, in the way it would feel weird to do if they were involved, I suppose. I don't know. That made me a bit relieved. Yeah, it's such a relief that there's a group of 4 people going around beating the shit out of a guy. We paused in front of the rather desolate but still busier than Himanomazawa train station. The car pulled into a restaurant parking lot and I followed Oishi-san into the shop. It was pretty crowded, but there were only adults at this hour. Of course, there wouldn't be children here in the middle of a weekday.
2, please. I'll make do when unsmoking.
This way, please. When you are ready to order, please call me over. We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. I sat with Oishi-san in a booth.
So what do you think? Aren't the waitress's outfits here cute?
Huh? Well, I guess.
This shop is always quite busy. It's more about the waitresses than the food, you see.
Why would you take a 15-year-old here, you fucking creep, you fucking weirdo? Fuck you. Uh-huh. Oishi-san, you're leering.
Am I really?
You're being a terrible example. Regardless of how the waitresses looked, the food was decent enough. Finishing our meals while talking about some inane topic, Oishi-san's after-meal cup of coffee arrived at the table.
Yesterday we talked about Himanomazawa's past, didn't we?
Yeah, that it was the village of man-eating demons or something like that.
I didn't know much about it myself, so I asked my mother about it this morning.
Oishi-san took out a notepad that was stuffed into his breast pocket.
Turns out that Himanomazawa used to be called Onigafuchi, the Demon's Abyss.
Oh, this song again. I love this song. I had to very carefully look this one up, because I really like it. Onigafuchi. That's quite the name.
Oh, the name is still around. And the swamp where the Shinto priest's wife drowned herself is still called Onigafuchi. It's said that the depths of that swamp connect to the realm of demons.
Of course, nobody had told me anything about such an ominous swamp.
And you see, it appears they were both feared and revered.
A respect born of fear, and a Machiavellian. I guess you could say it was a kind of deification. A village of inhuman creatures.
It seems the demons were Senin, or mountain-dwelling mystics of sorts. Villagers with incurable illnesses will be taken to Onigafuchi to be healed, for example.
Oh. I mean, maybe that's an indication as to why the hospital's so good here at the place, you know? They clearly care about their medical facilities, seeing as it's been a place of healing for so long. Even if we are calling them demons, Tengu, long-nosed goblins, or Senin would be a more apt description. They don't seem like such terrible people, even though they were called demons.
Oh, but they were still man-eating demons. According to the story my mother told me, as payment for treating the son's illness, let us eat the mother who brought him here. Oh, as apparently how things went.
The price of curing her son was her cell. I've just had a very, very dire thought. Let's equate the cure and the price to the deaths and the disappearances. The deaths are like the offerings, or the cure. The deaths are the cure for something. If someone doesn't die, then something doesn't get cured. And the cost of being able to access that cure is that someone is taken. Someone is demoned away. Let's run through a quick hypothesis here. My working theory at this point is that Tomitake was killed. If we can lock in that it was a group of people, obviously, I have to assume that it's our school club. More importantly, I think Rina was the ringleader. I think it was her idea. I think she was the one who said, we need to do this. We have to do this to save Keiichi, who is the village outsider. She's now worried that she is going to be disappeared away, demoned away, because she was the one who initiated that. If that's true, then there's an extra layer of tragedy and an extra layer of, like, understandability to Rina's actions lately, because imagine this is true. This could be completely wrong, and I might just be giving you a hypothetical. Rina goes out of her way to have someone killed, all to save somebody, who then pretty much immediately after starts acting shifty, starts saying, you're lying to me, you're hiding things from me, starts speaking on the phone with strangers about her and her friends and the village as a whole and the situation. If you had done that for someone and that's how they started acting, you'd be struggling to retain your composure, wouldn't you? That's my theory. It's easy to bring Satoko and Rika in because they've been affected by this already. In the past. Satoko's been really affected by it. over the course of several years, of course she'll believe in the curse and do what she can. This isn't looking good at all. That's my theory as of this moment. I don't say these things to confidently be correct, by the way. Like, if I'm wrong, that fucking rules. But whenever I'm playing something like this, I like to try and lock in a theory. Like, you know, like a... This is what I think the truth is going to be. I'll throw around ideas for a while, but I'll try and settle on something. And that's it. That's my settled theory. Obviously, we may get more evidence. We may get more notes and facts that that bring something else to light completely. And I'll change my prediction. But this is the this is the bet. This is where I put the chips in. Nice of curing her son was herself. That's unsettling.
Well, of course, the mother took her son and ran. But then, you see, all the villages of Onigafuchi, the demons, chased, surrounded, and captured them.
The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine. Well. Yeah. Ride or die village.
In the end, it seems both the mother and the son were caught and eaten. The end.
There's a problem with this story. Both witnesses in this story were eaten, so nobody would be able to tell the tale.
Huh? There are plenty of old fables like this.
In contrast to the ghastly tale, Oishi-san laughed heartily while sipping his coffee.
But, well, there are quite a few other tales. Where the demons from Onigafuchi band together to capture their prey.
I recalled that Mion said all the villagers united and fought against the dam construction. I saw similarities with how that part about unification overlapped.
They would always hunt down a single person, and they chose who it was going to be beforehand.
Huh? That caught my attention. Oichi-san also appeared to be pondering what it meant.
My mother told me that you must never interfere with a demon's hunt.
If the demons had decided, the demons being the villagers, that Keiichi or someone, or his family, were going to be the next target, and Rina intervened by killing someone else, and she's interfering. Oh dear, dearie me, oh fuck.
Well, you should just hole up in your house and hide up under the covers, he said.
So what does this all mean?
It means you mustn't ever help or protect the prey.
I need to go and give Milky some food. Tortoise Milky needs his food, don't you, Milky, you little scamp? Okay, I'm back, and if I sound urgent, it's because I've just had a fucking realisation. Hold on a minute. I need to check my footage from the last session. Okay. What did they say together? I need to look at the discussions that were had between Rina and Mion. In the class whilst we were sleeping, quote unquote. Grandma and the mayor had talked about it. Seems they talked to the police about it beforehand. They said they'd take care of whatever happens this year without causing a commotion. Grandma and the mayor discussed something with the police. They said they'd take care of whatever happens without causing a commotion. That is to say, my interpretation of this could well be, hey, There's gonna be a death. Please don't make this public knowledge. You know, keep it under wraps like a couple of the others. So in that instance, that's pretty grim because it's like, that means Mion is directly involved in this. You know, if it's true. Without us knowing it, someone had something to them, you mean? That gives me the indication there was a planned target, but somebody intervened and killed someone else instead. Maybe, says Mion. Next could be me. I wonder. Don't worry. You got home safely. But blank is not allowed, right? That was a long time ago. Let's stop talking about this. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Rena was like, you got home safe, right? Don't worry about it, you got home safe. No, my theory still stands. I think Rena's worried that she interfered with the hunt. Maybe Rena is worried about that. Maybe Mion is saying that's not how it works anymore. But I don't know. It's hard to fucking pass. I'm gonna have to go back and read a lot of dialogue again and like really piece together what people what the girls were saying, especially right before everyone departed. But yeah, my theory still stands. I think Rena's worried for her own safety because she interfered with a hunt, killed someone else, and therefore protected the prey.
It means you mustn't ever help or protect the prey. As long as you don't disturb the demon's hunt, no harm will fall upon the villagers. It seems there's that kind of rule.
Basically, don't help the victims. Pretend you didn't see the atrocities, in other words. What happens if you break the rule?
Well, they're man-eating demons after all.
Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story overlapped with his theory that the entire village was in on the crime. Even if it wasn't the whole village, it was conceivable that the villagers were hiding under the covers and leaving them to die when there's a group that's on the hunt, wasn't it? I didn't dare speak it. Then Oishi-san, I guess it looks like it's either the entire village or a group of villagers perpetrating the crimes.
Oh, what do you think, my Bara-san? Excuse me. Another cup of coffee, please.
That's what I wanted to know. It seemed that we were both waiting for the other to say that last part. He waited for the waitress to finish pouring the coffee before speaking.
Last year, I had a nagging feeling when Satoshi-kun disappeared.
Oishi-san muttered as he was watching the milk swirl around in his coffee.
So those friends of Satoshi-san, meaning a group of friends, my Bara-san, I had a bit, really, just a little bit, okay? A background checking done on them.
If Oishi-san had said this to me before, I would have gotten angry at him for calling my friends into question. But as I was now, I couldn't.
This might sound pretty stupid. My Bara-san, if you feel that it's stupid, please say so. I'll just stop.
Oishi-san was wearing the most serious expression that I'd ever seen from him. It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. Okay. At this point, it's like, can I go into witness protection, please? Please send me away somewhere else where I can be protected and safe, please? Not that I'm necessarily safe, because apparently people are fucking choking on sparks, regardless of where they are, in holding and stuff. There were quite a few things I regretted hearing from Oishi-san. But none of them were as threatening as this. A little voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Keiichi. This was probably the last one. I took a deep breath and silenced that voice. I would not run from the truth. Please. That was all I could utter. Oishi-san stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. After he was certain I was ready, he began.
The victim of the incident in the first year was the overseer. A few weeks prior, he had an altercation with Mion Sonozaki-san. Multiple altercations.
Oishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the dam project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked up.
In the second year, the married couple who supported the project died in that accident, right?
Yeah, the victim of the incident in the first year was the overseer. He'd had many altercations with Mion. That's fair. We kind of figured that already.
Their daughter was with him at the time. Her name is Satoko Hoju-san.
Huh? Satoko meaning Satoko? Oishi-san's look told me that my voice was too loud. I realised it as well and quickly quieted down.
The Shinto priest...
Sorry. Fear.
The Shinto priest and his wife who died in the third year. You see, their daughter is Rika Furude-san.
Rika-chan was...
The housewife who died in the fourth year, you know already, don't you? It was the step-aunt of Satoko Hoju-san. She was in her aunt and uncle's custody, as she had lost both of her parents in the accident.
Yeah, okay, so... Yeah.
She lived in the victim's house.
I could tell my lips were getting dry. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging agape. I had thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one that I could easily distance myself from. Why has all of this horrible trauma been dumped onto the two children? Obviously, Rina only arrived at the place last year. Even so, it's odd in a sense. It's odd taking into regard the logic of this so-called curse that Rina wasn't targeted. Why was it just Satoko again? That's what I want to know. Mion's never been involved, presumably because of the place of influence that her family seemingly holds within the village. I had thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one that I could easily distance myself from. But clicking and clacking, it had snuck all the way to my feet.
The one who disappeared the fourth year, by the way. He was Satoko-san's older brother.
What? Wait, just a second. It took everything I had to finally say that. I gulped down a glass of water and once again wiped my face with a napkin. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. But Oishi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, he started speaking again. The last of the things I shouldn't have heard.
All of the victims seem to be connected to your group of friends.
That has to be just a coincidence.
Oh, Maibara-san, keep it down. Everyone's looking.
Mion? Satoko? Rika-chan? So what if they're connected? Rina's the only one without a connection at this point. It seems. Why is that? Number one, why is that? And number two, why the fuck is Satoko getting the short end of the stick so horribly? You're telling me all of my friends? It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. Oh, Rina is different, isn't she? Rina isn't connected with the victims at all.
Rina Ryushi-san was living in a suburb of Ibaraki Prefecture up until last year. Oh well, it's true she hadn't directly met any of the other victims.
He said it in a roundabout way. Is he saying she's also connected?
Actually, I looked into her. Before Ryugu-san moved away to Hinamizawa, she was suspended from school. Seems she went through a school building and broke all of the windows.
Rina did that? She broke all the windows at her school? That same spacey Rina had... I couldn't even imagine it. All of that effort going into keeping her from having a criminal record, and she fucking already had one.
Seems that after her 3-day suspension, she didn't return to school. She went to a neurologist and was diagnosed with dysautonomia.
Dysautonomia, quickly look that up. A condition in which the automatic nervous system does not work properly. It may affect the functioning of heart, bladder, intestines, sweat glands, pupils, and blood vessels. Dysautonomia. Okay, symptoms. Okay. Anhidrosis, diminished sweating, blurry or double vision, bowel incontinence, brain fog, constipation, dizziness, difficulty swallowing, exercise intolerance, low blood pressure, head rush, commonly known as that, yeah, sleep apnea, syncope, fast onset, fainting and passing out. Heart rate that exceeds normal resting rate, tunnel vision, urinary incontinence. Okay. I don't see what this has to do with anything. I'm guessing that you'll maybe explain that to me. She was given weeks of counselling and medication. I wonder if it was something like a nervous breakdown. I'd heard that it happens to people who are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those matched Rina's easygoing personality.
And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had with Rina-san.
Okay, so you really didn't need to tell me about the diagnosis, because this is about the counsellor's notes, which, to be completely honest, you're already fucking out of line for telling me, but fuck it. You know, in for a penny.
Shows up, and quite a bit of that. It shows up.
And quite a bit of that. What did? I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret.
She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama.
Felt like someone's stone-cold hand was caressing my back. Why? Why had Rina spoken of Oyashiro-sama before she even came to Hinamizawa?
It seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in her house every night, standing over a pillow, looking down at her.
My mind froze. I couldn't process what I was being told.
A while after that, she moved to Hinamizawa. Oh, that's right. She's not an outsider.
Huh?
According to their residency register, the Ryugu family used to reside in Hinamizawa. They moved to Ibaraki just as Rina-san entered elementary school.
My mind went completely blank. It was similar to the static you'd see on a blank TV channel. My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension.
Maibara-san, are you all right? Shall we stop?
Those words brought me back. I couldn't let it end here. Now I know about Rina. Then... Let's take a moment. So she's not an outsider after all. She moved away briefly but then came back. To be fair, though, putting everything aside, I can absolutely understand why she wouldn't want to tell Keiichi about any of those reasons. Regardless of what is and isn't suspicious, you know, that's just something that she wouldn't want being discussed, of course. Now I know about Rina. Then, how about the last victim, Tomitake-san? Who was he connected with? Irritated, I let out one final reprisal.
All of them. Have you forgotten, my Bara-san? Didn't you all spend the night at a festival together quite merrily? Well, quite a few of the officers saw you enjoying yourself.
Now there was nothing I could respond with. I fell silent as my brain turned to mush.
We should get going. My Bara-san, did you take your afternoon medicine?
I had completely forgotten about the medicine I had gotten today until Oishi-san said that. How did you know about that? I got another How did you know about that? What are you, some kind of detective? I got another glass of water and we left the shop after I'd chugged it down. Did we tell him? We might have told him about it, I don't know. We got in the car and returned to Hinamizawa via the rough road. I never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but did cars normally shake this much? It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. But that big jolt was from the difference in elevation of the road when it changed from cement to dirt. I was certain that I heard Tomitake-san scream. I sat in silence, just letting myself be shaken by the car.
I'll drop you off at your house.
We're going to get to the house. He'll be dropped off by this person and we'll be witnessed. We will be witnessed by... fucking Rina, probably? I don't know.
You missed school because you were ill, correct? My apologies for the long conversation.
Why did you talk to me? I blurted out the question. Really just blurted it out. I didn't expect an answer.
I did check with you first, didn't I? If we should just stop.
Not that. Why did you reach out to me? I understood quite well that Oishi-san was investigating this string of suspicious incidents, but why was he telling me all this? I knew nothing, and I couldn't help. Everything Oishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I, having just moved here, possibly know? By chance, if there was a reason for Oishi-san to reach out to me, then it would have to be that I was part of Mion's circle of friends who looked suspicious to Oishi-san.
I'm retiring this year. I plan on moving away after retiring as my mother wants. So while I'm still on the case, I want to bring the truth behind this incident to light.
So, Oishi-san, you suspect them, don't you? All of them. Oishi-san didn't really give a response. It felt a little late, but I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings.
This is mostly my intuition from 30 years on the job. My Bara-san, you're the one in danger.
Huh? I wanted to reply with "that's absurd," but in my downtrodden state I couldn't bring myself to say it.
I'll be retiring this year, so I won't be at the Watanagashi next year. So I want to settle things.
In other words, he was insinuating that on the next Watanagashi, I might be the victim.
I've been warned by the chief as well. Each incident in a string of cases has been solved, so don't bring it up again. Oh, so I was told. This is the pressure I've been facing.
Pressure from what?
Someone in Hinamizawa. We've arrived. Is this fine?
Someone in Hinamizawa is kind of pressuring the police. And clearly it's Mion's relatives on account of, you know, the bit of the discussion that I heard. After some time, the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised. So little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. The chirping of the Higurashi hurt my ears.
Won't mind if you just forget everything I told you today. But I'm still gonna keep investigating. I'll end all Yoshiro-sama's curse this year.
So you're saying I should contact you if anything happens?
It's fine. Just contact me when you feel you have to, my Bara-san.
I wasn't collected enough to understand Oshi's... Oh, blah, blah. I need a drink. This has been a lot of info to take in. I wasn't collected enough to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying it.
Be sure to take it easy. I'm sorry for throwing all this at you while you're taking the day off because you're sick.
I didn't really give any sort of response.
I'll always be on your side. If anything, believe that. I'll be off now.
Tyres crunched over the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into a cloud of kicked-up dust. It felt like I was watching a boat only throw me a lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. That was the first time I thought Oishi-san was being unfair. Telling me I was going to be the next victim, then just saying to contact him if something happened. This wasn't a criminal investigation. He was fishing, and I was just a bait dangling off the line. Would the fish be the perpetrator? Or is it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, the bait would be swallowed whole. Damn it. I don't want to die. For some time, I could do nothing. Stare at the puddle of water left behind by the AC from the car. Ah. I wonder how much time has passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. My body was soaked in sweat. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment, the phone downstairs rang. That's terrifying, man. Like, the sudden sound of like a completely mundane noise cutting through a terrifying silence always gets me. It was probably Mum. Mum was quite the worrywart. Oh, maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice it. Hello, this is the My Barra residence. Oh, he's alive. Hello. This is Mion. How you doing? Is this one of Keiichi's friends? Keiichi is resting now, but shall I put him on? Huh? Is this his dad? Sorry. Idiot. You fell for it. Huh? Kei-chan! After our exchange, we both had a good laugh together. Except I was suspicious of her, even as we were laughing. Was everybody really involved in the incidents? The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me. I'm relieved that you seem well. Rina was really worried, you know. Sotoko-chan was happy and said you got what you deserved. Rika-chan said, how unfortunate he's sick. Looks like everyone was making a big deal out of it. Well, you know. So, Kei-chan. Is now a bad time to come pay you a visit? A visit? No, it's okay. It's not like I'm dying. Oh, god damn it, man. My grandma made a ton of mochi, you see. I was told to share them. So I'll bring you some. Hey, now, you'll catch my cold. Not to worry. Both Rina and I are too stupid to catch a cold. See ya. Be there in a bit. She hung up cheerfully. Rina's coming too. That's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Rina, but I guess if she was with me on... Oh, we got the girlies coming over for a hangout. I'm really excited. This is so exciting. I heard the door 10 minutes later. Ah, it's weird that I feel strangely comforted to see some, like, familiar faces again, but I'm also fucking terrified. How are you feeling? Did you take your medicine and rest? I did just that. Thank goodness you look well. I was worried. Sorry, I'll be fine by tomorrow. Mion showed a complete lack of concern for someone who's recovering. And Rena looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. It didn't look like there was anything behind those expressions. I thought we might hang out for a bit, but it looks like you're not quite in the right condition for it. You don't say. It seemed my face appeared a bit sullen. Then here, Keiichi-kun. These are the mochi Mi-chan's grandma made. Rena held out the package wrapped in newspaper. There might be about 5 in here. It was quite hefty. Oh, thanks. Send my regards to your grandma, Mion. Yep. Oh, there's one that I made in there as well. I wonder if Keiichi-kun can guess which one. It's the one that's got poison in it. This is Kei-chan's homework since he missed the club meeting today. There are letters on each mochi, so I'll ask you tomorrow. Were you checking if I was feeling better? Or did you just come here for club activities? Yep, looking fine. Guess you'll be able to make it tomorrow. Man, what are you going to do if my fever comes back because of your shenanigans? Mi-chan, we shouldn't be making such a racket. Let's go. The other people here will get angry. Both of them thought my parents were home. It was because the entryway was a mess. You're right, let's get going. Oh, by the way, Kei-chan. Yeah? What did you eat for lunch? Cool. This is great. This is fucking great, man. The sudden question startled me and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. I had never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. But why is she asking me about what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane it was almost meaningless. The way she said it, it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate. I ate out. She must have suspected that I was with Oishi-san. Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated or tried to change the subject, then they'd read too deep into it. So I tried answering as quickly as possible. Except, contrary to the efforts I had made, there was a pause before they replied. Yeah, they're gonna be like, that's weird. Your parents are out all day. Wonder why you ate out. Wonder who you ate out with. So you ate out for lunch, Keiichi-kun? The glimmer from Rena's eyes had changed at some point as well. It was now sharp, as if to make me feel the feigned ignorance behind her words even more. As if she already knew. That's how it looked to me. Well, was it good? Why are you asking me this? Mion was speaking in an unusually low tone, almost as if she knew that I'd eaten at the restaurant in town. No, I'm overthinking this. I was in the car boot. I hid in the car boot. I mean, both of them should have been in school at lunchtime. There was no way they could have known where I was. Seems you were with a rather austere-looking older guy. Who was he? Blop. The package with the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me go pale. Oh my god. Bro, at this point, just own up. Just admit it. Like, save face. Or maybe don't. I don't know. Like, that's my gut instinct, but it might be completely wrong. Oh. Keiichi-kun. Who was he? Could he be the person from before, I wonder? I wonder. I could feel the back of my throat going dry. This was no longer a bluff. They knew everything. How do you know that? It took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking. Because there's nothing this old man doesn't know. Of course, she has fucking eyes everywhere, probably. She's involved in one of the more influential families in the town. Mion sneered knowingly, and our laugh seemed to carry on forever. So, Kei-chan, what did you talk about? Seems like you got pretty worked up over it too. Oh damn, okay, well I mean that indicates that they were there, they witnessed it somehow. We weren't talking about you guys. Didn't have anything to do with you, Arena. At least, like, you know. It's cute that you're still going for denial. It's so obvious that you're in over your head right now, man. Like, the desperation. It's not going to do you any good. Isn't it a bit strange to hear our names come up, even though nobody asked about that? Rena's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peered further inside me. I dug my own grave. My heart was throbbing so much, it felt like it was going to explode. Well, whatever you're trying to hide, this old man already sees through it all. Remember that. I couldn't even shake my head. It took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even as she tilted her head slightly. Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good. I think you should lie down. That's true. We should both head back home. As if nothing had happened, they both giggled at each other and started making their way out. I hadn't moved a muscle since I dropped the package of mochi. Don't eat that. Don't eat that mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare. As if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. Just as the door was about closed, it opened again slightly with a sudden creak, sending my heart racing once again. Fuck, I was expecting the parents to be back. That's not what I... Okay. A single eye peered in through that narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again. See you, Kei-chan. Yeah. I'd hate it if you missed school tomorrow, alright? But the door closed. I wasn't able to move a muscle, even after their low laughter died off into the distance and silence once again enveloped the room. Coming back to my senses, the first thing I did was lock the door. They knew what Oishi-san and I talked about? Why? How? No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of it could have been overheard from the beginning when Oishi-san met me. Just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. Then, what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? I only talked with Oishi-san about one thing, and they were warning me that that was unnecessary. What was it that Oishi-san talked to me about? The incidents involving Oyashiro-sama's curse that occurred every year weren't individual cases, but were connected as a whole, as well as the fact that there may be multiple perpetrators hidden within Hinamizawa. No, more precisely, that Mion, Rina, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they're warning me against? What kind of nonsense am I thinking about? I hit my own face hard enough that it let out a loud slap. If only that would wake me from this nightmare. But for some reason it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Oh, that's dissociation right there, buddy. You're derealizing. The situation has become so stressful that you can't even feel your own body anymore. I've been there. It sucks. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. When did I become such a pessimist? Calm down. Calm down! Settle down and sort things out. The reason Mion knew I was eating lunch with Oishi-san was probably because someone from Hinamizawa just happened to be there at the time. They must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked was it good. They were just curious since I was together with someone not from Hinamizawa. It's not as if they had any ulterior motives. That's it. That has to be it. Thinking about it that way, it was the same with Rina. I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met Iwaishi-san, and Rina was just correcting me on that. That's when I was bewildered by the change in character from the usual mild-mannered Rina, and was just startled by it. That's the most natural way of thinking about it. It felt like my mind was mixed up like a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce would have poured out of my nose and ears if you squeezed my head. Thinking that, I suddenly felt like vomiting. I really didn't want that to happen, so I stopped holding my head. Lately, I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. It didn't feel like there was any sort of hidden agenda. I really do think they're a good bunch of people. When I just moved here and couldn't make heads or tails of anything, they were really kind to me. Rina was really kind, and always looked after me. As long as that strange affliction didn't rear its ugly head, she was really pretty cute. Mion is also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. And talking of not getting bored, Rambunctious Satoko was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty, but that was just the way she interacted with others. Rika-chan was the same way. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They were my friends. But after hearing of the better untold secrets of Hinamizawa from Oishi-san and Tomitake-san, when I was told about Oyashiro-sama's curse, things started going crazy. Then hearing from Oishi-san that Mion, Rina, Satoko and Rika-chan were all suspicious. After that, everyone changed. That's right. It all started getting weird after Oishi-san told me all that strange stuff. At that time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. I shouldn't even have asked Tomitake-san about the past incidents on the night of the Watanagashi. If I just hadn't gotten that strange sense of curiosity, if I just hadn't... That's right. So that's why they killed Tomitake-san. That impudent outsider. Speaking to the likes of me, after everyone went... I'm assuming that says killed. It's censored for some reason. That impudent outsider, speaking to the likes of me after everyone went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. They'll probably... Oishi-san as well. For trying to unearth what everyone was warning me was better left buried. Besides that, he was unforgivable for spewing words that made me doubt the others. Of course a guy like that is going to be... illed. Both Tomitake-san and Oishi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. They were entities who couldn't coexist with the people of Hinamizawa. Those guys should just fall to Osimo-san's curse and just... die! It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault, it wasn't their fault, it wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. I settled into a daze. It was a lethargic feeling, like I had just gotten up. But the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I had completely recovered. I'll go to school tomorrow, right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. Definitely be fun. It had to be fun. I was one of them, after all. Ugh, that reminds me, I need to eat those mochi. I hope I'm able to tell which one Rina made. I remembered the homework the two brought with them when they visited me. But wow, our club did delivery. That was something else. I picked up the package I'd dropped on the floor and headed into the living room. I don't want to open this mochi. Keiichi might have tricked himself into a delusional confidence, but I have not. I am still terrified, and I'm worried we're going to open up this mochi and it's going to be like, I don't know. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know what it's going to be. I'm just scared. I refuse to believe it's going to be normal mochi. It would be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it. To fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh, this was quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there were 5 plump red bean paste mochi, fit snugly inside. There were letters written from left to right on the newspaper. A, B, C, D, and E. Now then. They said Rena made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference in how they looked. They smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. The biggest difference was probably their shape. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mion's grandma was, but Rena's had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi that was made very neatly. So, well, that, just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out. Looks like this challenge depends on whether or not this one is Rena's. Calm down and think even harder. Mion had said her grandma had made a ton of them, and were told to give some out, if I remembered correctly. So that meant 4 of these were from that large batch. Then what about Rena? She probably only made 1. So she probably spent quite a bit of time on it. Meaning, the one that Rena had made was this one. E. Cut it in half before eating it. Cut it in half before eating it. Don't just immediately put it in your mouth. Cut it in half. Examine it further. For a moment I thought it may have been a trap Mion laid, if she knew I'd pick up on it, but that probably wasn't the case. I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it, but since she said Rena made it, it probably wasn't a trap. Yeah, you know what happens when you overthink these things, Raichi. Cut it open before you eat it. Alright, my tea is ready too. I'll start with a defending champ, Mion's grandma. Let's see. Not bad. Smooth bean paste and soft chewy texture left little to be desired. The tea I drank afterwards also accentuated the experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. Now, how about Rena's? The creation was so delicate, one would think it was a high-class Japanese dessert. Since I normally had quite the appetite, I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But, well, first, a bite. You're starting with a bite, are you? That's bold! That's bold, Keiichi! This was quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was little difference in flavour. What was different was how it was shaped at the end, so it was to be expected. So the deciding factors would be presentation and volume. The well-formed and well-sized champion versus Rena the challenger with a size you just couldn't get enough of. I'd only had one bite of Rena's. I would probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there was something hidden inside that could cause an upset. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Oh my god. Chew chew. It seemed my prediction was right. My tongue touched something. It didn't feel like something edible. So I reached in with my fingers and grabbed it. What? What was this? Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. It slammed against the wall, causing the bean jam to splatter. Then after sticking for a moment, it slid down to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? Rena had gone out of her way to make it for me. How could I? Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act. Then I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth. At first I thought it was a hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Rena's hair was still quite long, and it wasn't this short. It was also a bit too hard to be hair. It was thick enough to roll around on my tongue. There was a bit of a metallic sheen on the end of it. Yes, there was a hole for where thread goes through, like it was a sewing needle. Yes, that's right. It looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well, quite sharply. It really did look just like a sewing needle. Huh? What did I mean by looked very much like a sewing needle just a bit ago? I couldn't answer, but a voice inside me already knew, and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't stave off the terror from welling up inside me. Suddenly, I tasted something metallic and felt a prickling pain at the back of my throat. I stuck my finger in the back of my mouth and felt around to see if I was bleeding. Suddenly, I felt the urge to vomit. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth, and, after writhing in agony, I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again, but this time my heart was throbbing intensely, and it finally registered exactly what was mixed in with the mochi. Before I could think of the correct word, my hands were already on the move. Splat! I tossed the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered bean jam on the wall suddenly invoked a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out to the hall and flew upstairs to my room, where I stayed under my covers until morning. I clutched my own shoulders, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness, and frustration. This wasn't a threat, or a warning, or a reminder. Nothing as simple as that. What had happened in Hinamizawa? What is happening in Hinamizawa? What would happen? I didn't know the answer to any of those questions. Where did I break a taboo? Regardless, now Rena and Mion and others, they consider me an enemy, and they thought I should just die. I won't let you kill me. Not for such a pointless reason. I fell into a restless sleep as I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowing, bottomless swamp. Yeah, a billowing, bottomless swamp, eh? Bro, we have to go to school tomorrow or else they're going to be really unhappy with us. We're like, hey gang, I guessed who made the fucking I guessed who made the fucking mochi. Oh my fucking god, man. I'm so glad that I'm so glad I didn't look at the spoilers in advance, because some of these the achievements, We got 2 new tips. I guess we'll get these out of the way before anything else. What's a drug that makes you die by suicide? Hello, just a quick heads up. The next few minutes are going to have quite a bit of talk about mental health and disorders and suicide. And it's not necessarily discussed in the most sensitive or accurate way. It's kind of understandable because this game is set in like 1983, but just a heads up, might not be the most pleasant thing, so take care of yourselves.
Let's cut to the chase. Is there a drug that causes someone to kill themselves?
Not directly, no.
Oh, that's quite a roundabout response. You mean there's one that does it indirectly?
possible to induce a suicidal mental state, is what I mean. What if Tomitake ate something with a needle in it and it hurt his throat and he tried to claw it out of desperation? I don't know. It's possible to induce a suicidal mental state, is what I mean.
That's hard to say. What would a suicidal mental state be?
Like a person with serious bipolar disorder? It's believed that people are most likely to attempt suicide when swinging from depression to mania. Clinical depression and bipolar disorder are different. Clinical depression indicates a prolonged state of depression, whereas bipolar disorder is characterized by a passive depressed state accompanied by a very active manic state. Individuals with clinical depression suffer from low self-esteem and are quite pessimistic, but rarely commit suicide. They don't have the willpower to commit suicide. Nor does mania on its own lead to suicide. That has an opposite effect, filling the person with confidence and making them feel as though they're walking on air. Thus, they do not commit suicide.
Oh, that's interesting. Neither state causes suicide, but when the condition changes, they might do so.
There is a desire to commit suicide when in a state of depression, but they do not have the willpower to commit such a formidable act. But when they enter mania, they gain a burst of willpower, and their body moves as they desire. I feel like this is a very, very oversimplified discussion about mental health.
I see. So it means they gain the willpower to commit suicide.
That's how it goes. That's why patients are given sedatives during that time, to keep them from acting on their impulses.
Well, then was Tomitake bipolar?
People who suffer from bipolar disorder generally commit suicide by more civilized means, like, say, hanging or jumping off a building. Self-harm as though going through withdrawal is completely different.
Tomitake's death wasn't civilized, so one would think it was caused by some foreign substance. As I said from the start, tell me of a drug that causes someone to commit suicide.
There are reports that methamphetamine overdoses produce a condition that resembles bipolar disorder. It's a stimulant. Barbiturate overdoses are also reported to cause erratic behaviour. That's a sleep aid.
Well, there are no signs of stimulants. Are there any other possibilities?
All I can think of is that it's some sort of illness. Something like Graves' disease, which affects the thyroid, and is known to cause symptoms that resemble bipolar disorder. But Graves' disease has many characteristic symptoms of its own. One moment. Okay, so, there doesn't seem to be a direct correlation, but Graves' disease shares a lot of symptoms with autonomic dysfunction, dysautonomia. Oh my god, it gets worse and worse! Graves' disease has many characteristic symptoms of its own. The deceased exhibited none of them.
I wonder, is there something that could happen more spontaneously? Something that fits this case and would cause someone to want to commit suicide all of a sudden?
Are you familiar with organic mental disorders? In short, it's a condition where the brain is out of whack due to physical illness or injury. Yeah. It can be caused by drugs, but it can be caused by physical trauma, encephalitis, a stroke, or even tumours.
Basically, even without a drug, one can succumb to an irregular mental state.
The deceased was surrounded after being chased, and his life was in danger, right? All that stress could have messed with his brain chemistry, could have hit his head, and those factors combined might have caused him to mutilate himself. It's a possibility.
Could you explain it to me in simpler terms?
Basically, he knocked his noggin in the brawl and that made him go haywire.
Nah, guess this means the assailants didn't have any intent to kill. They smacked him open to nick some change and just happened to hit a bad place.
The two plump men laughed hoarsely.
But of course, it's not like that.
Undoubtedly. Whether it was habitual drug use or something mental, the C's background holds the key. How's your investigation going?
Oh my goodness, look at the time. I need to get back soon or Guma-chan will get angry with me.
Yeah, good luck. Best wishes.
Best wishes.
So, there's a correlation there. There is apparently a potential medication that could instill some of the effects that Tomitake was experiencing and exhibiting before death. That doesn't necessarily show up, but it is a very specific medication to combat certain symptoms. Those symptoms matching up with what I have been told is a diagnosis that Rena has. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Fret. Great. A fret.
Those guys just now.
They had national diet badges.
Then it's Prefectural Assembly Member Sonozaki and City Councillor Sonozaki.
Oh. Oh. That's interesting. The prefecture assembly member and city councillor are related.
It's dirty is what it is. Shouting out each other's name during elections. Well, one is up for the election, the other one holds an assembly, and they double up their campaign activities. Blatantly.
I don't know much about this stuff, but isn't that against the rules of the election?
As long as they have no prior consultation, there are no restrictions on their political activities. Kuma-chan, the second investigation division is going to be pretty tough for you. You should at least brush up on election laws.
I'm not cut out to handle intellectual crime, because I'm dumb. There was Prefectural Assembly Member Sonozaki and City Councillor Sonozaki. Also, the Mayor of Hinamizawa. So they're all influenced by the Sonozaki family. What crap. Looks like they were seen off by the Deputy Chief and the Department Chief. It came to me. That night, when the Department Chief invited me along to get some Odin, I thought that was it. You have a lot of connections, so you might have heard something. Have you?
Nope, not a thing.
Ma'am, I'll take a tofu fritter and a fish cake. The councillor stormed in on the police chief in a rage.
Oh my, is that so? Ma'am, I'll take another bowl.
Prefectural Assembly Member Sonozaki and City Councillor Sonozaki were both intimidating. Our snot-nosed career police chief couldn't handle being yelled at by them. They're like Yakuza. A petition with your name came up regarding how the investigation of the Hinamizawa incident is being handled.
Goodness me. I've not the faintest.
No need to play dumb. You're reopening the past cases regarding Hinamizawa, aren't you?
I've already got my hands full with Tomitake's death. Nah.
Really? I hope so for your sake. There was a period of silence. While we were silent, we made headway on our food and drink.
Ooh, that was quite the feast. This month has been a bunch of losses to me, so my wallet was feeling the pinch. Much appreciated.
Nah, it's nothing. Tell me a good horse again. I'll bet on the same one as you.
Nah, I haven't been doing well there lately. Haven't been able to read the horses at all. A taxi!
I'm going by train. Department chief is taking a taxi. I have my own car, but it'd be rash to drive it home. Can't blow it right before the time with a DUI. Even though he could still rattle off, it looked like his legs were already jelly. Push him into the cab. I gave the driver the department chief's address.
Well, see you again tomorrow. The best wishes.
Oishi-san.
Yeah.
The past incidents have all been closed. Stop lumping them all together. The villagers half believe it's really a curse.
Well, I'm not convinced.
You're gonna be retiring next year, aren't you? Were you gonna pay off your mortgage with your severance pay and move on up to Hokkaido with your mum?
Mother pines to return to her birthplace. It's the least I can do. And the pension, well, it'll let me enjoy myself in Susukino. Ah ha ha ha.
The chief said he may have to reconsider issuing your special retirement salary raise. A public servant severance package is calculated based on their monthly salary when they retire, so a special promotion of 2 grades is given before retirement. This tops up the employee severance payment. That tends to be how it's done round here. Of course, it's not exactly a commendable custom. Incidentally, the difference that 2 pay grades make to the payout is quite significant.
Oh, I'd expect no less of our egghead chief. Quite the model veiled threat. But, well, considering how our pay comes from the public's hard-earned taxes, it's the way of the times, I suppose.
Certainly wasn't a laughing matter, but I'll laugh through it anyway. I don't think it's such a model response, but given how hard you worked, it's not at all odd for you to take home such a good package. Personally, I'd like you to get it.
If I could get it, well, of course I'd want it. Ah ha ha ha.
You'll get it, as long as you're an adult about this.
Sorry for holding you up here, driver. Thank you very much.
I closed the door roughly, interrupting the department chief's
Conversation a bit rudely. It looked like he still had something to say, but he just smiled wryly and waved. I waved in return. The cab sped up gradually, and soon disappeared among the sea of lights. Oh man. Wonder if I'll be able to repay that loan.
Well, shit. Mion really does have eyes everywhere. The Sonozakis have got a lot of clout. They probably saw him come into town, tailed him out with Keiichi also there. Then sent off Mion to go and, like, you know, run intimidation. Bam. Well, this is fucked up. And it's a shame I have to stop now, because I really want to find out more, but my throat is demanding it, so we're gonna call it there. I'll think more on what we've learned.